Now, safe sex, the use of condoms to prevent sexually transmitted infections, has been a staple piece of good advice ever since the arrival of AIDS. But in the world of gay pornography, it's been eclipsed by the rise of so-called barebacking, which breaks the taboo. Now there's grave concern that in making pornographic films, young men have been infected with HIV, and it's happened on camera. As a result of the report you're about to see by Madeleine Holt, 3 films have now been withdrawn from circulation.
Just 20 years after AIDS decimated a generation of gay men, a new phenomenon is blighting lives. There's been an explosion in the production of gay porn films, the like of which would have been unthinkable just a few years ago. They show men having unprotected sex with each other. It's called barebacking. There's growing concern within the gay community that the performers are becoming infected with the HIV virus and that they're influencing other gay men to take the same risks in their private lives.
I have a question. After all the gay community has been through, why are we putting people at risk for porn?
3 years ago, various companies started it, and they found they had a market for it, and therefore there was more people bought it, more people produced it, and it snowballed really. 60% of the stuff that is sold probably is bareback.
While most straight porn has always been condom-free, bareback marks a massive shift in the gay market. Films without condoms became taboo in the 80s and 90s because of AIDS. Now, sex without protection is the unique selling point.
There's been a glorification of bareback porn. Almost every bareback porn DVD out there has the word bareback in the title.
Is there any evidence that people are actually starting to take more risks because they're being exposed to barebacks?
Yeah, from the people that I've spoken to, yeah, people see it and they think that's something that they want to try because it's put there as a fantasy, it's put there as something that is, you know, a bit naughty, if you like.
One notorious DVD illustrates the risks that bareback performers can be exposed to. The filming was organised by Eye Cream and its associated company Eye Candy, the 2 firms which have dominated the UK bareback industry. In July last year, 8 models were taken to France for a week to have sex with each other in multiple combinations without condoms. The industry relies on testing performers for HIV on a monthly basis, but the problem with that is, if you have been infected, that won't show up on most tests for weeks. One of the models whose results had been negative before the shoot was HIV positive at his next regular checkup after the filming. As a result, 3 of the models took emergency tests. Craig was one of them.
The doctor then called me in, and it was a long walk, walking along that corridor. I remember sitting down, and he picked the paper up and he went, "We've got your results back, but unfortunately we found HIV in your system." Oh, I just went to pieces. I couldn't believe it.
As well as Craig, both the other 2 models were diagnosed as positive. By then, the footage from the French trip had already been offered for sale to several porn distributors. To add to Craig's distress, one company, Load XXX, released a DVD containing scenes which he believes show him becoming infected. And the DVD was advertised with the catchline that the only protection the boys needed was Factor 50 sun cream.
That got me really mad because the only thing that would have saved us was a condom, and for them to put that on that DVD, that really makes me mad, and it's sick in a way.
When Newsnight approached Load XXX, they declined to comment on the record, but they said they would now withdraw the DVD from sale. Another company, Eurocream, has also now told the BBC it'll pull a second DVD featuring footage from the French trip. The firms behind the French shoot, Eye Candy and Eye Cream, told us they believed the HIV infections were not directly due to the company's actions, but were the result of activities by some of the models outside work. Craig's shoot is not the only one in which models may have become infected from doing bareback work. By the age of 19, Jason had appeared in dozens of bareback porn scenes. Then, in 2006, he discovered he was HIV positive. He immediately declared his status on a gay networking site, and within days he'd received hundreds of messages. How do you think you became HIV positive?
I'd like to say, for definite, I got it from doing bareback porn. But I can't say 100% of the sex I was having was just porn, but 90% of the unprotected sex I was having, 95% of the sex I was having was through porn. So it's like, that's the most likely transmission route. Most of the people I'm working with that are positive, I still know today.
What do you think the chances are that you actually infected some of those people before you actually found out that you were HIV positive?
I don't know, it's not really been something I've ever been too fond of thinking about.
Eye Cream and Eye Candy, who until recently had their studios on this industrial estate in South London, didn't always follow their own safety rules, according to Jason and Craig. They alleged that occasionally they were allowed to do bareback work without producing a recent HIV certificate.
Most of the time I would have a certificate to show them, but there were 2 or 3 occasions where I had been tested, but I didn't have a certificate on me.
But they let you carry on anyway?
Yeah, they would take my word for it.
When you started working for Eye Candy, how safe did they say bareback work was?
When I started talking about, I had reservations about doing bareback, and I was assured that they only used models they trusted, that they only used models who weren't sure about doing bareback to start with, because then the assumption is that they would be less willing to have unprotected sex outside of work. But they were always assuming that people weren't having unprotected sex outside of work.
What do you think about their attitude looking back?
I'm amazed I fell for it looking back.
Jason's account is disputed by Eye Candy and Eye Cream, who say they've been pioneers in promoting HIV testing in British gay porn, and that they've never allowed models to work for them without proof of their HIV status. They also say they've adopted a new test which can detect HIV more quickly.
That one, I worked with a positive model in as well.
John Gadsby thinks he became HIV positive on the same shoot as Craig, but he's continued to do bareback work for Eye Cream.
The way I see it is I've got it now, so I've already got it.
Health officials are worried that John's attitude is part of a wider complacency about HIV and AIDS. The Health Protection Agency recently recorded that gay and bisexual men remain the behavioural group at greatest risk of acquiring HIV.
I think that there's the possibility of something being called condom fatigue, is that we've been talking about condoms for so long that people are now bored or they think they know it all. Education in schools is maybe not what it could be for anybody, heterosexual, but particularly if you're gay.
Some people listening will see your attitude as complacent, bordering on irresponsible, both towards yourself and to other people, and ultimately to taxpayers who will end up having to pay for your treatment.
Yeah, I know. Sorry. No, I can do now.
I will never make barebacking movies.
Opposition to bareback has been growing within the gay porn industry itself. In the US, its most successful director, Shishi LaRue, has taken a very public stance.
I have a question. After all the gay community has been through, why are we putting people at risk for porn?
As for the company at the heart of the bareback controversy, Eye Cream, they've now told us they've made a decision to stop doing bareback work altogether. So the biggest player in this inherently unsafe business says it'll only do films with condoms. What matters now is whether other producers and distributors will follow suit and make bareback a thing of the past, or whether they'll exploit this gap in the market.
Madeleine Holt reporting.